Here are the top 90s cartoons of all time. Enjoy this trip down nostalgia lane.
Spoon is quite possibly the most ridiculous superhero catchphrase of all time, but that's why we love the Tick. There have been 3 different television iterations of the Tick, including 2001's TV series starring Patrick Warburton, which stands out to me as something that I remember quite well. It's actually surprising to learn that it was only 9 total episodes, but Warburton played the big blue bug of justice like no one could. Most recently, we got a 2-season reboot of The Tick on Amazon Prime starring Sarah Fininowitz. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that correctly. And he also did an amazing job for the show, but unfortunately, the unusual humor makes it difficult for The Tick to last long term, and it was canceled after just 2 seasons. However, the version many of us fell in love with was the 1994 animated version starring Townsend Coleman as the voice of the Tick and Mickey Dolenz as the voice of his bug-eyed sidekick, Arthur. Later, he was portrayed by Rob Paulsen. The Tick is a nearly invulnerable superhero. With his superhuman strength and mass and incredible skills in dramedy, he makes easy work of most villains. This is important given that his sidekick Arthur has 0 superpowers. However, he does bring his intelligence to the table, which is probably higher than average. That mere 36 episode run helped the Tick enter the American zeitgeist, and even today people will often use his catchphrase, seemingly, well, sometimes not even knowing where it comes from. They'll just yell out, "Spoon!" In fact, IGN ranked the Tick as one of the 100 most popular comic book heroes of all time, fitting nicely in at number 57. Ben Edlund created the Tick while he was still in college, and the comic book took off quite quickly because it offered something bizarre and brazen and much different than what was being published at the time. Unfortunately, when it came to creating the cartoon, he was hamstrung a little bit by the fact that the studio wanted something that could be focused more towards children. However, the animated series that came out in 1994 ended up pleasing most fans nonetheless. Even though Tick was a commercial success, it never hit the heights of other famous cartoons like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And some of that may have been the fact that the humor was sometimes focused more towards adults, much like my other favorite short-lived cartoon of the late 90s, Freakazoid. But as an offbeat and outlandish superhero parody, it truly stands the test of time. In the photo on your screen, you can see where the Tick came up with his catchphrase, "Spoon," while eating a box of Drama Flakes. If you want a reboot of the 90s animated version of the Tick, then please like and share this video. If you want to see more videos with 0 ads and maybe leave us a response, then please click the link in the description. Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures. Get early access to new videos every week with 0 ads at chrononaut.com. Rugrats is a long-running TV show that started in 1991 and ended in 2004. It showed people the life of a baby from the baby's point of view and starred Tommy Pickles and his annoying sister Angelica. Tommy is the 1-year-old bald baby protagonist of the series Rugrats. He often wears a blue shirt and a diaper while getting into crazy baby shenanigans. Elizabeth Gutman is the voice actress for Tommy Pickles, and she also does Buttercup on the Powerpuff Girls. Both of the show creators, Paul Germain and Arlene Klatsky, have made claims to creating Tommy Pickles on the show and based it on their own sons. Tommy likes to take his band of wayward baby travelers on all sorts of exciting adventures, much to the chagrin of Stu and Dee Dee Pickles, his parents. But he always says, "A baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do." Chucky Finster is Tommy's best friend, and he's always worrying about everything. Despite the fact that he's a bit older than Tommy, he doesn't seem to have the same sort of go-getting attitude. Chucky has a little bit of competition for Tommy's best friend, coming from Spike, the family dog. Despite only being 1 year old, Tommy is quite adept at walking around like a toddler, even though he does appear to be pigeon-toed. His older self in All Grown Up at 11 years old is clearly a bit better at walking. He has purplish, spiky hair, and he still hangs out with his best buds, Chucky and Dill. Throughout the show, Tommy showed his natural abilities as a leader. Although he may have sometimes taken on too much risk, he was a brave and adventurous type that we can all look up to. In fact, I might just be going back to watch the show again so I can get a better idea of just how that works. If you enjoyed this short video about Tommy Pickles, please leave a like. If you think we need a Rugrats reboot, then share to spread the word. If you think the show was best left where it is, then feel free to leave a comment.
Hello fellow nerds, Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures. Get early access to new videos every week with 0 ads at chrononaut.com.
Set in a world of anthropomorphic felines, SWAT Kats follows the crazy, high-flying adventures of Chance, T-Bone Furlong, and Jake, the Razor, Clausen. Although the show is famous with fans, it only contains 2 seasons, where the SWAT Kats team up with headstrong Commander Farrell in regular adventures against the arch-villain Dark Cat. After failing in their initial pursuit of Dark Cat, they are reassigned to a military salvage yard, where they use their advanced technological skills to create a high-tech jet from discarded parts, and dedicate their lives to saving the city. Rumor has it SWAT Kats was canceled after just 2 seasons because the show was considered by Ted Turner, the owner of the network, to be too violent for kids. But my 9-year-old self thinks he's an idiot. The Turbo Cat is the sweet 3-engined 2-seat fighter jet created by the SWAT Kats. Some even consider it cooler than the Pepsi jet. If you're old enough, you'll remember that reference. Many of the amazing voice actors from the TV show Batman the Animated Series also voiced important characters in SWAT Kats. A few of those included Kevin Conroy, the voice actor for Batman, and Mark Hamill, the voice actor for the Joker. Johnny K is the cameraman in the cartoon, and he's voiced by Luke Skywalker, or at least the guy who played him in the Star Wars movies. talking about Mark Hamill. There have been numerous discussions over the years to revive SWAT Kats, including in a version called SWAT Kats Revolution. It's been under development for a while by Hanna-Barbera Cartoons, but has yet to come to fruition.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures. Get early access to new videos every week with 0 ads at chrononaut.com.
If you've ever heard me say anything, you know that one of my strongest opinions is that there aren't enough crime-fighting superhero sharks in this universe. Fortunately, Street Sharks fills that niche, which came out in 1994. The story is about 4 brothers who were mutated into sharks and is totally not in any way, shape, or form similar to the Ninja Turtles. Truthfully, the show does stand well on its own as an entertaining show for kids, where Dr. Robert Bolton and Dr. Luther Paradigm create a technology that allows them to turn humans into anthropomorphic hybrids by combining their DNA. In order to try to stop Dr. Luther Paradigm from engaging in evil deeds, Dr. Robert Bolton uses the technology on himself and transforms into some sort of monster that remains unseen. Later on, Paradigm uses the technology on Bolton's 4 sons and turns Johnny, Bobby, Coop, and Clint into the Street Sharks. The brothers gain new nicknames, including Ripster, who is John Bolton, the smartest and oldest of the 4 brothers, and possibly the most creative. Then there's Jab, or Clint Bolton, who's the laziest, but has the greatest fighting skills, including boxing. Then there's Streak, who's Robert Bobby Bolton Jr., the cool and self-assured, not to mention suave and level-headed, self-proclaimed ladies' man. And finally, we have Big Slamu, the youngest of the 4, named Coop Bolton, who's probably the best athlete and a former football player. After Dr. Paradigm turns to evil, he kidnaps the Street Sharks' friend named Benz. When the Street Sharks go to try and save him, his DNA is combined with Piranha, which gains him the nickname Dr. Piranoid. Dr. Piranoid becomes the major villain in the show and continuously creates other mutant creatures to try to annihilate the Street Sharks. The last few episodes of the show introduce the Dino-Vengers, a group of alien dinosaurs who team up with the Street Sharks in order to take on enemies. This serves as an introduction to their own TV show called Extreme Dinosaurs, which is, of course, a spin-off of Street Sharks. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll share it with your friends. We work hard on these and could certainly use a few new subscribers.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures. Get early access to new videos every week with 0 ads at chrononaut.com.
The original incarnation of Space Ghost was way back in the 1960s by Alex Toth, and it was more serious than what we're familiar with today. where Space Ghost had powers like flight, super strength, agility, teleportation, invisibility, and some power bands on his wrists that gave him different energy powers and abilities. Despite claims to the contrary, Space Ghost is not a real ghost. In fact, he's only named that because he can turn invisible. Any good superhero has at least one sidekick, but Space Ghost had 3, namely Jan and Jace, a couple of young adults, and also Blip, his funky monkey. In the original 1960s show, Space Ghost would fight against villains like Zorak and Moltar, but they would be brought back again later in the 1990s as part of his talk show, Space Ghost Coast to Coast. The show would also return for a short stint of just 22 episodes under the name Space Stars in 1981. However, the show people are the most familiar with is Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which came out in 1994, where he would spoof late-night talk shows. In this new iteration, the teen sidekicks and the monkey Blip would be thrown aside for new sidekicks like Zorak and Moltar, with other occasional guest appearances from other villains like Metalis, Lokar, and Brak. The show would become one of Cartoon Network's most popular shows in its Adult Swim lineup, and even spawn a couple musical albums like Space Ghost's Surf and Turf and Space Ghost's Musical Barbecue. Space Ghost would prove so popular that he would be requested to cameo in other shows like Robot Chicken, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and Sealab 2021. Even though the show was animated, it would often feature popular celebrities and athletes. Interestingly, in order to get the interviews for the show, a staff member would often dress up as Space Ghost to ask guests a variety of questions, and then later the show would be written, produced, and animated. Space Ghost Coast to Coast is well known for its surreal humor and hilarious antics, and in the interviews with a wide variety of interesting characters like Conan O'Brien, Willie Nelson, and Hulk Hogan. Space Ghost is loved by fans for a lot of his humorous one-liners like, "I'll be dead long before you were born, and I'll be dead long before you'll be dead." Or, "I have a giant brain that is able to reduce any complex machine into a simple yes or no answer." Or, "Oh boy, the Shatners really hit the fan now. I'm up Dawson's Creek without a paddle." In order to keep production costs low, they often reused old Space Ghost footage as well as old Hanna-Barbera cartoon animations. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you're in dire need of a Space Ghost reboot, then please click the share button and send it to your friends. If you've had your fill of Space Ghost up until this point in time, then click the comment button and leave a pithy remark below.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures. Get early access to new videos every week with 0 ads at chrononaut.com.
Rocco thought America would be the perfect place to live, but he's surrounded by nosy, annoying neighbors, a ton of laundry, and a plethora of life issues that he thought he would be able to escape. Rocco finds a new best friend in America. He's a dim-witted but lovable bovine named Heifer. Rocco does have man's best friend, a miniature bull terrier named Spunky, who's far less intelligent than even Heifer and the majority of the other characters on the show. He's one of the few animals who can't speak, and though he is quite lovable as well, he tends to drool everywhere. Melba Toast is Rocco's neighbor, who he eventually falls in love with. Her face is never actually seen on the show. Filbert is a main character in the show and another one of Rocco's best friends. He is often quite stressed out and pessimistic. Mr. Big Head is the closest thing to a villain on the show, although most of the time he's just angry with Rocco and the rest of his friends for engaging in crazy hijinks and shenanigans. Many fans are not aware that Rocco has a full name. That name is Rock Wallaby Rama, or Rocco Rama for short. Rocco's Modern Life returned in 2019 for a 45-minute short movie called Static Cling. The synopsis for that Nickelodeon show on Netflix is that for 20 years, Rocco and Heifer traveled through space, and then returned to Earth and had to learn to adjust to the 21st century. In that show, Rocco is not happy with the changes the 21st century has wrought, so he goes on a hunt to find the producer of his favorite canceled TV show called The Fatheads. At this point, it appears creator Joe Murray, as well as Nickelodeon and Netflix, have no interest in returning to the zany antics of O-Town. However, if fans show a fair amount of interest, maybe we'll see more of Rocco in upcoming TV series or shows.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures. Get early access to new videos every week with 0 ads at chrononaut.com.
If there were a psychotic version of Pinky and the Brain, it would be called Ren and Stimpy, based on a dim-witted cat and a crazy chihuahua. Ren and Stimpy may be certifiably insane and a bit too much for children. However, teens and young adults have enjoyed the cartoon for decades. The show was always quite edgy and close to being banned by Nickelodeon. In fact, one episode called Man's Best Friend, which was originally going to air in 1992, was banned for excessive violence, tobacco references, and numerous issues with the production schedule. The lovable rotund character Stimpson, or Stimpy J. Cat, is one of the main characters and has a brain the size of a peanut. He's also only 3 years of age, but hey, that's 28 in cat years. Many people believe that Ren and Stimpy was the scatological precursor to SpongeBob SquarePants, and that many jokes and grotesque close-ups were taken from the original Nickelodeon show. The original creator of the show, John Kricfalusi, is not planned to be involved in the new reboot. The Ren and Stimpy show was part of the original Nicktoons trilogy, which included much more laid-back shows like Rugrats and Doug. Rugrats and Doug left a much different feeling with fans. Doug remains one of the longest-running cartoons of all time, whereas the quirky Ren and Stimpy characters were constantly getting in trouble for their dark humor, sexual innuendo, and the occasional violence. Ren and Stimpy was originally rebooted in 2003 for Spike TV called Adult Party Cartoon, but got canceled after 3 episodes because so many people complained. Another reboot of Ren and Stimpy has been in the works for a few years now, led by Mike Judge, who's creator of TV shows such as Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill, and movies like Idiocracy and Office Space. I know I'm excited for a reboot, especially with the famed actor and director Mike Judge at the helm. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and share with your friends. We could certainly use the support. Have a fantastic day.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures. Get early access to new videos every week with 0 ads at chrononaut.com.
King Arthur and the Knights of Justice was a favorite cartoon of mine in the early 90s, and I had almost forgotten that it happened. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to still remain very popular since there's only a few hundred reviews on IMDb. The show's premise is that the original King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table are trapped by Queen Morgana. Unable to free them, the wizard Merlin searches the timeline for warriors of virtue. Merlin searches the timeline and finds Arthur King, who's quarterback of the New York Knights football team. He makes Arthur the leader and his teammates Knights of the Round Table. The new Knights of the Round Table have their own pledge that goes like this: fairness to all, to protect the weak and vanquish the evil. They also have special armor with animals emblazoned on their shields, which allows them to summon those creatures, such as King Arthur's wyvern. Unfortunately, the series was cut short after just 2 seasons and left fans wanting more. The conclusion to the series would come in a Super Nintendo game that featured King Arthur fighting a giant dragon version of the villain Morgana, where the Knights football team was finally able to leave and go back to their home. The creator of the show was Gene Jalopin, and the show is produced by Diane Eskenazi and Avi Arad, the latter being the person who helped found Marvel Studios. A few of the most popular characters on the show include King Arthur, who's the quarterback of the team and voiced by Andrew Cavadas, and Sir Lancelot, who's second in command and Arthur's best friend, and voiced by Scott McNeil. And of course there's also Sir Trunk, who's the strong man of the group, and voiced by Scott McNeil. Merlin is the wizard who essentially kidnapped Arthur and his teammates to bring them back to the past and fight the warlords of Queen Morgana. Queen Guinevere is the beautiful wife of the real King Arthur, and she's often a bit confused as to why the new King Arthur seems to be acting a bit different than the way she remembers her husband. Queen Morgana is the evil witch responsible for capturing the original King Arthur and his knights. Kathleen Barr voices both Queen Morgana and Queen Guinevere. King Arthur and the Knights of Justice is a fun cartoon that combines new and old. The knights have their armor and they also have their superpowers and use that to fight evil. I highly recommend finding a way to watch this cartoon. If you enjoyed this short video, please give it a like. If you'd like to see a reboot of King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, please give it a share to spread the word. If you'd like to leave us a video response, then click the link in the description.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Johnny Bravo has no shortage of self-confidence or self-esteem, and he's quite certain that all the women want him, even though he makes mistake after mistake. With his big blonde hair, tight black clothes, and penchant for karate chopping action, it's clear that the only thing stopping him from success is himself. The good-looking, sunglass-wearing, fit dude named Johnny Bravo is actually loosely based on Elvis Presley and James Dean, the big difference being Johnny still lives with his mother. There's plenty of argument about whether Johnny Bravo was meant for younger children or for teenagers and young adults. But like many cartoons, it has a combination of kid and adult humor. This late 90s to early 2000s cartoon was created by the Filipino-born American Ephraim Giovanni Bravo Partable. Some modern audiences who lack the understanding of the finer things in life may believe that Johnny Bravo is offensive. However, the show is truly a parody of masculine tropes. The cartoon had many fun crossovers, including Bravo Doobie-Doo, a crossover with, you guessed it, Scooby-Doo, early on in the show. A common trope in the show is that Johnny Bravo gets hit nearly every single episode. So what do you think, fellow nerds? Should there be a reboot of Johnny Bravo, or should it be left to rest?
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Hey Arnold is a cartoon that came out in 1996, starring a precocious fourth grader with a football-sized head and an extremely tiny ball cap. Arnold didn't know his real parents growing up and was raised in the city of Hillwood by his grandparents, Phil and Gertrude. In 2002, fans were left with quite the cliffhanger as Arnold discovered his old father's journal and realized that they had made a trip somewhere else, to San Lorenzo, and he thought maybe he should go looking for them. In the movie Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie, we see quite the sob story as Arnold finally comes face to face with his parents. In that movie, Arnold and his friends arrive in a mysterious city run by children, because all the parents had been afflicted with, say, sleeping sickness, and Arnold's parents had been asleep for 10 years. Fortunately, they come up with a cure and help everyone there. In the main series, Helga G. Pataki is Arnold's main antagonist, and they often encounter different conflicts on a daily basis. But she is also his main love interest, and eventually becomes his girlfriend. Gerald Martin Johansson is Arnold's best buddy and sort of his sidekick, and they go on many exciting adventures together. The girl in the glasses is Phoebe. She is one of the smartest students in Arnold's school, and she's Gerald's girlfriend. Craig Bartlett was the creator of Hey Arnold and was also highly influential in Pee-wee's Playhouse back in the 80s. Unfortunately, due to creative differences with Nickelodeon, the show was eventually canceled after only 5 seasons. Due to the tendency of male actors to grow up and have their voices change, many different people have voiced Arnold, including J.D. Daniels in the pilot, followed by Taran Caudell, then Philip Van Dyke in seasons 2 and 3, and finally Spencer Klein in seasons 4 and 5, and the final movie. Despite what critics may say, Arnold was definitely not a girl and did not wear a skirt or even a Scottish kilt. He was actually hanging a plaid shirt from his belt, a common trend in the 90s with the grunge crowd. Series creator Craig Bartlett believed that tying a plaid shirt around your waist was a timeless fashion classic. However, it tends to confuse some, even though the trend continues to come back time and time again. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Hey Arnold was one of my brother's favorite cartoons growing up, so if you'd like to make him happy, then share this video so that we can get more Hey Arnold in the future. If you don't think we should get a Hey Arnold reboot because we've had enough already, then feel free to leave an angry comment.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
The Goodfeathers was the segment of the 90s cartoon The Animaniacs, which starred Pesto, Bobby, and Squit. The cartoon was a parody of Goodfellas and had some references to The Godfather, and the main characters were based around actors Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, and Joe Pesci. The 3 Italian-American pigeons were often visited by the God Pigeon, which was a reference to Marlon Brando's character in The Godfather. The 3 pigeons lived in New York City atop a statue of the world-famous director Martin Scorsese, and they often had references to other movies like West Side Story, Fiddler on the Roof, Raging Bull, and Rocky. The characters were quite popular with children, despite the fact that most of the references were to movies that those kids had never actually seen. Fortunately, references to Don Corleone in The Godfather and many other famous characters makes the show quite rewatchable for adults. Squit, voiced by Maurice LaMarche, is the narrator of the shorts and is the most obedient and loyal of the group. He's also constantly getting in scuffles with Pesto. Pesto, voiced by Chick Vanera, is a reference to Joe Pesci's character, Tommy DeVito, in The Goodfellas, and he would constantly make Squit angry so they would get in a fight. Bobby, the 3rd pigeon in the trio, would often have to translate God Pigeon's difficult to understand Sicilian mumble. The Girl Feathers were the adorable female counterparts to the Goodfeathers and starred Sasha, Lena, and Vicky. Unfortunately, the Goodfeathers don't show up in the Animaniacs reboot on HBO, but we're hoping to see them again soon enough. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see the Goodfeathers in the Animaniacs once again, then please share this with your friends.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Goliath is the leader of the gargoyles in Manhattan. He was born in 938 and is over 1,000 years old. The series features a number of gargoyles who turn into stone during the day and fight against criminals during the night, protecting the city of New York. A few of the other main characters in the show include Brooklyn, Lexington, Hudson, Coldstone, Broadway, and a dog-like gargoyle named Bronx. Gargoyles was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid, and I'm sure I'm not alone. It used to often play around the same time as another fantastic show called Batman the Animated Series. Gargoyles has always been well received by fans for its relatively dark tone and incredible story arcs, similar to Batman the Animated Series and X-Men. His former partner is Demona, and they fight often during the series. He also formerly dated Eliza Mays, who's a detective and one of the main protagonists of the show. Keith David is the voice actor for Goliath, and he also does the introduction to the show. I can't imitate his voice, but here's what he says. 1,000 years ago, superstition and the sword ruled. It was a time of darkness. It was a world of fear. It was the age of gargoyles. Stone by day, warriors by night. We were betrayed by the humans we had sworn to protect. Frozen in stone by a magic spell for 1,000 years. Now here in Manhattan the spell is broken, and we live again. We are defenders of the night. We are gargoyles. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll leave a comment or follow the link in the description to leave us a video response. Have a fantastic day.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures. Freakazoid is a little-known American superhero comedy from the mid-90s, produced by Steven Spielberg and Warner Brothers Animation. Unfortunately, Freakazoid was canceled after only 2 seasons. A major part of the reason was Steven Spielberg leaving Warner Brothers Animation to pursue other endeavors. Dexter Douglas and his crazy and insane alter ego Freakazoid were created by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini for the Kids WB programming block of Warner Brothers. Washington, D.C.'s freaky superhero from the 90s got his powers from a freak internet accident where he accidentally typed in just the right code, which turned him into the Freakazoid. Given Freakazoid's short reign on the WB, we don't know the full limits of his power, but we know he has enhanced strength and endurance, extraordinary speed, agility, and limited amounts of sanity. Freakazoid has had many appearances and references in famous cartoons like Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. However, he most recently appeared in an episode of Teen Titans Go in November of 2020. In that cartoon, the Brain teams up with the Lobe from the original Freakazoid cartoon, so the Titans must enlist the help of the mighty Freakazoid to save the day. The secret sequence of keys that can create a new Freakazoid are there on your screen. However, we can't recommend typing that in especially when around a cat, because we don't know what exactly will happen next. Over the years, Freakazoid has gained quite a cult following, both on the internet and in circles of friends. So we hope it will come back in the future, aiming at more of an adult following. We'll see you on the flip side. Freak out. Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Dexter's Laboratory was a cartoon from the late 90s that had 5 seasons and starred the child genius, Dexter, who was constantly dazzling the world with incredible inventions in his secret laboratory under his parents' house. Dexter's co-star was Dee Dee, the fantabulous and quirky sister, who, from his perspective, was worse than the worst type of supervillain because she was continuously coming into his laboratory and stealing his devices and foiling his plans. Dexter is notorious for rage quitting after suffering from the massive annoyances of his sister Dee Dee, as well as his bitter rival and fellow classmate Mandark. Dexter has one advantage over Mandark, and that's that he's in love with his sister Dee Dee, but Dee Dee can't stand Mandark in the slightest. In the first 2 seasons of the show, there are many episodes starring Dial M for Monkey, which is Dexter's pet laboratory monkey who has superpowers and actually fights crime, with his partner, Agent Honeydew, and the Commander General. In the show, Dee Dee and Dexter's parents don't have names. They are just mom and dad, and they have absolutely no clue that there's a laboratory under their house. And they tend to believe that Dee Dee is the perfect child. At one point, Dexter gets a major crush on a girl named Merriweather who's on his bus route. So he has Dee Dee write poems for him to give to her, which she eventually gets super annoyed about. In the episode Omelette du Fromage, Dexter attempts to avoid studying for his French test by using a technology he invented to teach him French while he's sleeping. Unfortunately, it gets stuck and repeats the same phrase over and over again, and it's the only thing he can say in the morning. Much like I am Groot, his vocabulary is now only 3 words, which is why his sister Dee Dee makes fun of him. Antics like this and conflicts between his sister and Mandark are common and enjoyable to watch in the TV series. So fortunately, HBO has a reboot planned for the near future, but we'll be curious to see whether it actually happens. Please like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. We certainly appreciate the support. If you'd like to leave us a video response, then follow the link in the description.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Darkwing Duck is the avian crime fighter and superhero of St. Canard. Darkwing Duck is a member of the super duper secret spy agency called Shush. Not Shut Up, it's called Shush, and absolutely nobody knows what it actually stands for. Shush is tasked with taking on the nefarious terrorist group called Fowl. Darkwing Duck's most famous sidekick is probably Launchpad McQuack, who many remember from the original cartoon DuckTales. Sometimes Darkwing will also bring around his adopted daughter Gosalyn Mallard, or her genius friend Honker Muddlefoot. Now don't be telling anyone this, but Darkwing Duck's secret identity is Drake Mallard. Some people believe Darkwing Duck was inspired by 2 episodes of DuckTales called Double O Duck and The Masked Mallard. However, many others believe the show began as a James Bond spoof and eventually spoofed Batman, the Green Hornet, and many other Pulp Fiction superheroes. Darkwing Duck may be a non-powered superhero, but he's still a bit of a cross between Batman and Inspector Gadget. When you watch the cartoon, you'll see him using his gas gun, which fires gas as well as a variety of other objects. Drake Mallard is distantly related to the well-known Scrooge McDuck. According to Don Rose's Duck family tree, Scrooge's paternal grandmother was named Molly Mallard. But the question is, are all ducks related? Maybe if we go back far enough, we'll know for sure. Despite numerous crossover characters, Darkwing Duck and DuckTales never existed in the same universe, which begs the question, is there a Duckverse? However, the most recent DuckTales reboot from 2017 to 2021 informed us that they now do exist in the same universe, although they did not way back in the 1990s. Fans may be happy to hear, or maybe a bit worried, that a Darkwing Duck reboot is coming to Disney Plus in 2023. We hope it will be good. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Freakazoid was a maniacally hilarious cartoon from the mid-90s, starring the eponymous character and his best friend, Cosgrove. Ed Asner voiced Cosgrove in the series, but he's probably most famous for acting in the Mary Tyler Moore Show in the 1970s. He has also added his skills to other great shows and movies like Up, Elf, Dead to Me, and Cobra Kai. After a long and storied life, Ed Asner passed away in 2021, and Paul Rugg, the voice actor for Freakazoid, left him a heartfelt tribute on Twitter. Ed Asner's decades of experience in comedy truly added something special to the banter between Freakazoid and Cosgrove. As you can see on the image on your screen, he says, "Hey Cosgrove, how come you never got married?" And Cosgrove responds awkwardly, "Because I like meat too much." Cosgrove likes to take a break now and again, or maybe pretty regularly, from fighting crime to have a delicious snack with his good buddy Freakazoid. One of the most common tropes in the show is for Cosgrove to show up randomly and then invite Freakazoid out for a mint. Cosgrove loves showing up randomly to wherever Freakazoid might be. While he's there, he sometimes invites him to go out for a snack or to engage in some sort of wacky adventure. As a sergeant in the police force, Cosgrove enjoys patrolling around Washington, D.C. in his Unit Number 6, which is a surprisingly low number for a patrol car in a city with thousands of police. Although Cosgrove appears to have a gruff demeanor, he actually appreciates Freakazoid's zany antics more than most people would assume. Many characters in the show are driven insane by Freakazoid's crazy shenanigans, but not Cosgrove. He's always there for his good buddy. "Cut it out" is probably Cosgrove's most common line in the series. He even sometimes breaks the fourth wall and tells viewers to do just that. So I'm going to tell you now, without Ed Asner's amazing deadpan delivery, to cut out whatever you're doing and go watch Freakazoid. You know you want to. If you enjoyed this short video, please like, subscribe, and share. If you want to avoid those annoying ads and get early access to videos, then please click the link in the description.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Captain America and the Planeteers is a famous cartoon from the early 90s where the Planeteers attempt to save the planet, aka Gaia, which is interestingly also the name of a former country in present-day South Korea. This amazing group of Earth Day aficionados can combine their powers to summon a blue warrior made of elemental power who can help save the Earth. Captain America can be summoned when the powers from the 5 rings are combined. Those elements include earth, fire, wind, water, and heart. Gaia is the goddess or spirit of Earth, and she gives the Planeteers advice on how to lead their lives. She is also the creator of the 5 rings that they use to summon Captain Planet. There was almost a Captain America and the Planeteers video game way back in the early 1990s, but it was canceled because it contained a large amount of shooting and received very low reviews. The series was created by Barbara Pyle and media mogul environmentalist Ted Turner. It was produced by Hanna-Barbera Cartoons, which is famous for creating a wide variety of world-famous cartoons. It was an early form of edutainment, which we see much more nowadays via the internet. Famous actors from Star Trek The Next Generation like LeVar Burton and Whoopi Goldberg also voiced prominent characters in Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Whoopi Goldberg voiced Gaia in seasons 1 through 3, and LeVar Burton voiced Kwame. Many of the villains from the cartoon were quite amusing, like Captain Pollution, Dr. Blight, Hoggish Greedley, who was a pig-like human, and of course Duke Nukem, but not the one you're familiar with from the video games. Lutin Plunder, which sounds like loot and plunder, if you didn't get that yourself, is a business person in the show and one of the eco-villains. He rarely gets his own hands dirty and instead uses his underlings, like some of the villains mentioned previously. The opening of the show goes something like this. Our world is in peril. Gaia, the spirit of Earth, can no longer stand the terrible destruction plaguing our planet. She sends 5 magic rings to 5 special young people Kwame from Africa, and with the power of earth from North America, Wheeler with the power of fire from Eastern Europe, Linka with the power of wind. From Asia, Gi with the power of water, and from South America, Mati with the power of heart. When the 5 powers combine, they summon Earth's greatest champion, Captain Planet. The power is yours. More than a decade ago, the famous actor Don Cheadle did a skit on the Funny or Die YouTube channel where he humorously imitated Captain Planet. Please give this video a like if you want to see a live-action reboot starring Don Cheadle. Give it a share if you would like to see a reboot of the original cartoon. Click the link in the description if you would like to leave a video response.
Hello fellow nerds, Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Futurama is one of those shows with incredibly devout fans that continue to keep the show going despite multiple cancellations. It's actually only been canceled twice, although it feels like much more, and the creators of the show have actually created 4 different episodes that could have been used as series finales. Futurama was originally released in 1999, so it barely makes the cut as a 90s cartoon, and its last episode was in 2013. However, Hulu is planning a reboot of 20 episodes in 2023, but we'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. Bender Bending Rodriguez is the wisecracking, cigar-smoking, alcohol-drinking robot in the Futurama TV series. Bender may be hilarious, but he's also a sociopath and a pathological liar who often says, "Kill all humans, except one," referring to his best friend, Fry. He also has catchphrases like, "Bite my shiny metal ass," when he has to interact with people that annoy him. Bender Bending Rodriguez was manufactured in Tijuana, Mexico in 2996, but he didn't have his vital backup unit, which is used in case his body is destroyed so his memories can be uploaded to a new unit. Due to this defective nature, he was scheduled to be destroyed by MomCorp. Fortunately for Bender, he was saved by Hermes, who worked as your stereotypical bureaucrat in MomCorp. Unfortunately, Bender's fuel cells might be defective because he has to continuously drink tremendous amounts of alcohol in order to recharge them. And if he doesn't continue drinking, then he will actually appear intoxicated. So Bender continues to drink profusely in order to avoid the 5 o'clock rust, and due to his high levels of intoxication, he has the ability to release incredibly huge, flaming burps. Bender and Fry technically live in an incredibly tiny closet. However, Fry discovers that the so-called closet is actually much bigger than the apartment, so Fry decides he can live there, and Bender chastises him for it. At one point in the show, Bender is sent to Robot Hell, which exists in the horrible city of New Jersey. Bender had unwittingly signed up for Robot Hell when he had discovered religion, and then eventually the robot devil, Robot, napped him and brought him back to Reckless Ted's Funland. However, Fry and Leela were able to save him by hitting the robot devil over the head with a golden fiddle after they had promised to beat him in a contest. Bender's sociopathic, hedonistic, nihilistic, snarky, crass, and vulgar personality is exactly why we love him. His total lack of empathy brings something completely different to the show. Even though Bender will sometimes drop truth bombs like, "Isn't it time you gave up all hope of ever improving yourself in any way?" we do see from time to time that he has a bit of emotion, and might say something like, "I mean, being a robot's great, but we don't have emotions, and sometimes that makes me very sad." Plus, we always see him standing up for his best friend Fry. That is, when he's not making his life worse in some way. Bender is truly one of the best cartoon characters of all time, and Futurama is one of the best TV shows. Maybe Matt Groening's best show, even better than that other fairly popular show, The Simpsons. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you want to see Futurama continue on for eternity, or at least until the year 3000, give it a share. If you think Futurama had a solid ending and we should be done with it by now, then leave us a comment.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Beavis and Butthead was an extremely popular yet controversial cartoon from the 90s that ran 8 seasons on HBO. Early reviews of the show called it dumb, crude, ugly, thoughtless, sexist, and self-destructive. But we all know that's why we liked it. A few of the most popular sayings from the show included, "I am the great Cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole." Another one was, "Hey baby, damn we're smooth. We're gonna score." And, "Do you have TP for my bunghole? I would hate for my holio to get polio." I obviously can't do an impression of Beavis and Butthead, but if you think you can, go ahead and click the link in the description and leave me a video response. I would love to see it. A few other popular lines from the show include, "Thinking sucks. Work sucks. Let's go break something." "Hey Butthead, I dreamed I was at school last night. Do you think that counts for attendance?" And, "My list includes any girl with at least one boob." Butthead, "My list is like your list, but it also includes your mom." The absolute hilarious genius and fellow bald guy Mike Judge is responsible for Beavis and Butthead and many other shows as a writer and director. Mike Judge is also responsible for creating King of the Hill, co-creating Silicon Valley, creating movies like Office Space and Idiocracy, and in more recent history, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. That movie is a sequel to the 1996 film Beavis and Butthead Do America, which I somehow saw in theaters despite not being old enough. If you had a similar experience or something else you'd like to share, let us know in the comments. In the series, they have a couple of on and off relationships where Beavis occasionally dates Tanqueray and Butthead dates Lolita. Both of the female characters are voiced by Tracy Grandstaff. Mike Judge has rebooted Beavis and Butthead on multiple occasions, the first being in 2011 with Season 8 of the show, and most recently Season 9 in 2022. At the moment, it's easiest to watch the show by getting a subscription to Paramount Plus, where you can watch Season 9 and any other future episodes of the show.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
Bart Simpson is the overactive, easily distracted, sometimes a bit nefarious, 10-year-old child of the Simpsons family. Bart is always getting into crazy antics like his father, Homer Simpson. Some would even say he has ADHD, but more than likely he's just a bit more hyper than normal. Bart's first appearance ever, along with the rest of his family, was in 1987 as a short on the Tracey Ullman Show. Interestingly, though, the Tracey Ullman Show would only last 3 years, whereas Bart Simpson, who was already in the 4th grade in 1987, has remained in the 4th grade for over 30 years as the show has continued on, and also on, and then on a bit more. Bart is the eldest brother of his family, with Lisa being his younger sister. He's most well known for his mischievous and rebellious behavior and his disrespect for the authority of teachers, parents, priests, and the like. He's most famous for his chalkboard gags in the beginning of the episode, his prank calls to the bartender Moe, and his catchphrases like "Eat my shorts" and "Ay caramba." Bart's best friend and confidant is Milhouse. Bart and Milhouse quickly became good friends and engaged in all sorts of crazy shenanigans. Once, when they both ran into Principal Skinner of their elementary school, he said to them, "You've just started school, and the path you chose now will be the one you follow for the rest of your life. Now, what do you say?" And in response, Bart said, "Eat my shorts, man." It might be surprising to some to know that Bart Simpson is actually voiced by a female named Nancy Cartwright. She originally auditioned for the part of Lisa Simpson, but that didn't work out for her, and she found Lisa to be a bit boring, so she tried out for the role of Bart Simpson, and that worked out perfectly. The first 2 seasons of The Simpsons TV show was based mainly around the antics of Bart, which makes sense because the creator, Matt Groening, actually designed the character a little bit after him. However, Bart Simpson's antics flummoxed teachers and parents, not just in the cartoon, but also in real life, and many actually complained. So in season 3, Homer became the main protagonist in the show, and it focused more on their general family life instead. Despite changes in the show, Bart Simpson remains one of the most popular characters in the American zeitgeist. In fact, Time magazine rated him one of the top 100 most important people of the 20th century, which would mean a lot more if I hadn't won Time Person of the Year in 2006. If you enjoyed this video about Bart Simpson, leave a like. If you feel like The Simpsons TV show should go on for eternity, feel free to share it. If you think that The Simpsons should have ended in season 12, leave a comment.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.
TaleSpin was one of my favorite cartoons from the early 90s, so let's get into it. Many of the characters from the 1967 version of The Jungle Book return for TaleSpin. The most prominent returning character is Baloo, who donned a cap and jacket and began to fly planes. Nobody really knows how a guy with no pants managed to acquire a plane, but let's not think about it too much. To be honest, it's not made clear that Baloo in TaleSpin is the same character in the 1967 animated movie, but we can be sure that he was based on that character. What's even more interesting is that Little John from Disney's Robin Hood also closely resembles Baloo, and interestingly, is actually voiced by the same voice actor named Phil Harris. However, work for voice acting Baloo in TaleSpin was taken over by the talented Ed Gilbert. Many fans wonder why the show was canceled, but the reality is it never was. It was just common in the 80s and 90s for Disney to order up 65 episodes so that they could play them daily for 3 or 4 months in a row. Like his Jungle Book counterpart, Baloo might come off to some as lazy and unreliable, but the reality is he's just a friendly guy, and he happens to be an excellent pilot who will take on the most daring adventures and encourage others to do good. In TaleSpin, Baloo serves as the mentor to the 12-year-old orphaned bear cub named Kit Cloudkicker, who serves as his trusty sidekick. In the photo on your screen, you see the original version of Baloo from the 1894 version of The Jungle Book. He is a sloth bear and a strict mentor. In the book, Baloo and Bagheera, a panther, help save Mowgli from the vicious Shere Khan, a tiger. Shere Khan makes another appearance in TaleSpin, where he serves as the ruthless business leader that constantly antagonizes Baloo and his crew. There's been some discussion that Disney Plus will reboot the show, and while we would love to see the return of Baloo, Rebecca Cunningham, Shere Khan, Thaddeus E. Klang, Don Carnage, King Louie, Airplane Jane, Wildcat, one of my personal favorites, and of course Kit, we're hoping that it won't be a simple cash grab by Disney. If you'd love to see more TaleSpin down the road, then be sure to share this video so we can get the word out. Thanks.
Hello, fellow nerds. Chrononaut, a band of time-traveling nerds, are here to bring you all the lore from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, Star Wars, Pokemon, and more. I hope you'll travel with us to the past and share your ideas with the group on where you think your favorite cinematic, gaming, or comic book universe will go next. Click the link in the description to join us on our adventures.